Who is the deadliest fighter in A Song of Ice and Fire? This is our topic for this video, and we're also going to have a little debut this time, because in this video you will not only hear me, Lord Bloodraven, but also the other half of Frey Pies for Skagos, my good friend Sir Greenstone. Before we start with the actual discussion, we will have to talk about a couple of rules. So, what are our rules for this contest? First, all characters to be considered must be alive at the beginning of a Game of Thrones. The second rule, we are trying to measure who was the deadliest fighter in their prime, not at the beginning of the books. Rule number 3, only actual humans count. So, no Night's King, for example. And no giants. Number 4, the use of magic is prohibited. However, magical properties of certain characters are acceptable. Rule number 5, the participants can choose among any standard quality weapons and armor. So, for example, no Valyrian steel. Rule number 6, this is about who is the deadliest fighter in a one-on-one situation. So, no melee. Rule number 7. The fight takes place in an arena without any obstacles. There's enough space to evade, but not enough space to flee. Rule number 8. Of course, this is about fighting to the death. In other words, we ask who would kill the other guy first. Rule number 9. There are no ranged weapons at hand, so exceptional skills at archery do not count, for example. Rule number 10. There are no further rules. Basically everything is allowed, no holds barred. So that's that. And now, let's talk about the 3 deadliest fighters, in my opinion, and of course, in Sir Greenstone's. So we will start with our third places, and then continue with our second and first places, obviously. So here it goes. I thought that he might be on your list. I was not quite sure which place, but I know that you, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I know. So, why is he your third place? Because I think, what did he actually achieve? I mean, he beat Rhaegar. That's true. That's certainly true. Nobody can debate that. And it was, after a fashion, a kind of one-on-one situation. But how good is Rhaegar, really?
I mean, Rhaegar was kind of a star in his time. So, he was well educated. He was well trained at arms from one of the best people in the country, like Fitz, a prince. And so I think that Robert Baratheon, in his prime, like at the peak of his power, he was like a real beast with his warhammer, and he was freakish strong.
He certainly has the strength going for him. I mean, that's a similarity between the two, obviously.
Yeah, strength going for them, but they are both powerhouses. But
it's an interesting pairing here, because none of them actually uses a sword. So we have warhammer against axe here.
So it's a kind of duel of brute force.
Yeah.
And I would go with Robert if you go with brute force.
I think I would.
But I think that like Robert, we really in his prime, not like the fat guy we know from the books, but in his prime when he was well trained and fit and all that stuff, he had a really good combination between like brute force, like we said on the one side, and he was also still agile enough to move in a combat situation, to move in a battle, to not get exhausted. In a lot of duels, I would put my money on Robert Baratheon.
A bit of my problem with him is he's more the melee kind of guy. I mean, he probably in a fight when you have, I don't know, 8 or 10 warriors all
he will survive,
striking in every direction. He's my guy. He's definitely my guy. He's the kind of guy who wins these melees. But is he the elite duelist? That's my question. I'm not sure.
In a one-on-one, especially with Victorian Greyjoy, which is, I could say the same, the melee thing about Victorian Greyjoy. I mean, I imagine him in a ship battle. There's chaos, there's blood, a lot of gore everywhere. It's very confusing. I can imagine him there. But in a duel, if you look at it, like what Ned tells his kids about Robert Baratheon, how he saw him in their youth, how he experienced him in the rebellion and all that, it puts him quite at the top in that time. So on the other hand, what has Victorian going for him?
Victorian has going for him that he's absolutely fearless. He has the same strength that Robert has. And of course, we should not forget he has that magical hand that Flaming Moe gave him, right? He has that magical black hand, which we don't know what he can do with.
But that is debatable.
Yeah.
Because like when you argue that he has this magic hand going for him, then he must be now in his prime.
Yeah, that's true.
So you say he is now in his prime.
In his prime right now. Yeah,
okay.
That's what
I would say he's already too old to be in his prime.
I wouldn't say. I would not say that. I mean, he's certainly not very young anymore. But is the fighter really at his best? I don't know. At 25, I'm not so sure.
Not necessarily 25, but isn't he described as like he's already been through a lot?
Certainly.
And he has a little bit lost his will.
But I think he's found it.
With the entire Euron King's Mood.
Yeah, I see what you're saying here. But I think he's already beyond that again. With Mokoro and his new hand, he's really going strong again.
But can you imagine, like, they going at it, and Robert has his Warhammer, Victorian has some kind of great axe, or I don't know.
Probably a great axe, but yeah, might be. Does he?
I just think that Robert, because he is not an Ironborn guy, he has received the better package in training.
Yeah, but that's not only an advantage, you know. I mean, if we see those two guys, right?
Yeah.
Victorian knows how guys like Robert fight, because you can see Robert fight all the time.
But has he fought so many in duels? I mean, in
probably not, but
in melee situations, yeah. But in real one-on-one duels,
yeah. But I mean, Robert fights all the time. He's fighting this war. It's history. He has been fighting in every melee he could get into. I mean, Victorian knows what Robert is capable of. Robert doesn't know what Victorian can do.
Yeah.
That's an important point. Victorian would know how Robert fights. He would know what he's capable of. Because it's history, because people tell stories about it, and because he fights in melees all the time.
But experiencing that firsthand is another story.
Probably not so much, that's true. But he would have fought many Westerosi, many Greenlanders, let's say, with Warhammers. He would know how he fights. Robert is just the best guy with a Warhammer in
I can agree on that.
That's true. That's certainly true. I would not even debate that. Okay, let's probably keep it at that for our third places.
Third place, let's
move on.
For some...
Yeah, let's see. Let's move on to our second places. Now I'm really curious. Interesting pick.
Okay, let's start with your pick this time.
Yeah, I mean, Oberyn really has a lot going for him, right?
Yes.
Oberyn has this diverse experience. He knows how to fight with every kind of weapon. He knows so many styles that he just knows how it goes. I mean, he has been to the Free Cities all the time. He has campaigned all over Essos with his own mercenary company. He's also fought with the Second Sons. He has that going for him. He also has the training of the Citadel. He has forged a lot of links. Poison, for example. So he really knows a lot about the human body. I'm not talking about his sexual relations, but you know what I mean. He really knows the human
fighting
body.
kind.
Yeah, he knows where to strike. He really has that background knowledge that the other guys don't have, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay,
He knows,
I give you that.
He also has all those dirty tricks. He knows how to do it, and Oberyn usually achieves his goals. I think he always has achieved his goals in fights.
With one minor
Probably,
incident.
probably, or probably not. We are not so sure about that.
Okay, I know there are some.
There are theories out
Yeah.
there claiming that Oberyn did exactly what he wanted to do. He wanted to expose Gregor. He wanted to expose the man behind Gregor. He wanted to make sure Gregor dies.
Yeah, I
And-
know there's this story with. There's this theory that Qyburn is connected to Oberyn through his time with the Second Sons and the goat mercenary.
There's a lot of those stuff, and it's very possible. It's very possible that Oberyn, even in that instance, achieved his goal. I mean, we are sure that he achieved 2 of his goals there. Maybe getting out there alive was his 3rd goal. Then maybe he did not achieve that. But even that, maybe it wasn't even his goal.
Yeah, okay.
He gets shit done.
I can agree on all of that because like Oberyn he was always in the top 5 list, and I was thinking a lot about where to put him in or not. That's why it's really hard to argue against it, because I like Oberyn. I like him as a fighter, as a person. He was very well played in the series. He's even better in the books from my perspective, and really interesting character, which has a lot going for him.
Definitely.
I just chose talent over all that stuff that Oberyn has going for him. All his experience, all of his knowledge, and all of his training. And Jaime is just a pure talented fighter. He was the youngest knight in the Kingsguard ever. Like ever.
But, of course, we have to ask, was he that because he was so good? Or was he that because of politics? I mean, certainly his skill played a role there, I guess.
It has to have played a role.
Yeah.
I mean,
It has played a role, I guess.
it has played a role because you don't come into that club when you can't fight. I mean, it was a little bit after Cersei.
Let's think about Horace
overtaking-
Blunt here
Yeah, okay.
and the Cattle Blacks.
But if you compare it like at the start of the books, the Kingsguard, they are like a myth.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think it was kind of a really big deal for Jaime to get into it. And it wasn't the wish of his father. So I don't think his father kind of intervened for him.
Probably it's the other way around.
You mean that?
Aerys put him in there just
That might be.
to show Tywin that
But
he's
given
not
his
going.
but given his paranoia, I think he wouldn't have put a worthless fighter into his Kingsguard.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, in the end, it didn't work out for him so well.
That's true. That's certainly true. It didn't really work out that well.
But Jaime is just like he's a real talent. He's a real beast with a sword. I think he's a very, very good fighter. I mean, I think there are quotes at the start of the book which claim that he is currently the best sword fighter alive in Westeros.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
And he
at that
loves to
point.
duel.
Yeah, that's probably true at that point. But being the best swordsman in Westeros doesn't necessarily put him above Oberyn, does it? I mean, Oberyn might fight with a spear or something like that.
Yeah, I'm just saying that he's really one of the best sword fighters.
Yeah, I can't even argue with that.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't even argue.
And he likes to duel. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
he's really the kind of duelist.
Yeah, he really likes,
He likes
to show off.
He likes to go one-on-one.
He likes the real tough contest, right? He really likes to go toe to toe with the very best swordsman.
And if you compare it, like he fought Brienne. Brienne, on the other hand,
she's not bad.
She's not bad
at all. I mean, I think he would also be probably in my top 5, at least in my top 10. He's definitely top 10 and has a very good chance to be top 5, I guess. but I'm not sure if it is enough to beat everything that Oberyn Martell can bring to the table, because he really has this whole diverse thing going for him. That's something Jaime probably doesn't know how to handle. I mean, if you give both of them a sword, it's clear that Jaime will win. But is he used to fighting a man with a spear? Or is he used to fighting a man with... I don't know what Oberyn would probably use. Oberyn would pick his weapon. He would really think about that, right? He would say, okay, I'm fighting Jaime Lannister here. Which weapon can I use that will fuck with Jaime? I mean, what is the weapon that Jaime doesn't have an answer for?
We're not giving Jaime enough credit in that situation, because I think he would have the same thoughts. Like, he would think about, okay, how can I beat him? What are his weak points? Where can I attack him? Is it his arrogance, his self-confidence? So I think that Jaime would give it a lot of thought and would go in with a strategy, because he's not that dumb.
Yeah, definitely.
He's not like Gregor Clegane, who would just
that's true.
Try to overpower any enemy.
That's true. But I just think that Oberyn has more resources. He really has more resources to draw from.
More resources, but I think that Jaime has the greater talent.
Might be. I mean, I cannot really argue with that. It might be. It's tough to say, but I see where you're coming from here. Yeah, it might be. It might be the case.
I think it's like with the last pair, it's the X factor is what would speak for Jaime, and experience and resources would be on Oberyn's.
Yeah,
in Oberyn's favor. Yeah.
All right. Fine. So then,
time for number one.
Yeah, time for number one.
And
let's see.
I have a clear.
Yeah. Now I also have a hunch what might be coming our way here. Yeah. So it's Barristan the Bold, and it should be Barristan the Bold.
No question.
Yeah. I mean, he's really the only person in the whole story that we know of that really overpowered a lot of guys single-handedly.
Yeah.
At the Defiance of Duskendale, right? I mean, he really goes in there and does all this. He really goes in there and single-handedly saves Aerys from all those people, basically.
Yeah, I think in his prime he had it all. Like, he was good with a sword, without a sword, with any weapon, even without a weapon.
Yeah.
He had great talent, great experience. Was
I think people in the story.
I read this quote like that he was compared to Sir Arthur Dayne, and they said like, okay, I don't remember the exact quote, but the meaning was Dayne will win with Dawn, but with a normal sword he will lose to Barristan.
Yeah, that might be the case. Yeah, that might just be the case. I mean, Barristan is really, you cannot really argue with that. What is there to say against Barristan the Bold? Is there really anything that you can say is his weakness? Yeah, any little thing where you can say, okay, maybe he's not so good because he has this little flaw or that little flaw, but there really are not that many.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. I think even at the start of the books, he's still one of the top fighters in Westeros. And there he was already well past his prime.
Indeed. I mean, he has been really a fighter of the absolute #1 tier from age, 14 to...
Yeah, top-notch quality from the start.
I mean, he has been doing this for so long and has always been among the best.
And he survived so long. I mean, that speaks for itself in some way.
Indeed, it does, yeah. I mean, what can you really say? I mean, there might be battles, there might be duels when he's inferior in terms of strength.
Power, yeah.
In terms of sheer power. But he just has everything to, win despite this disadvantage.
Yeah. And of course, in real wars and fights with like many people clashing, he can always be inferior in that circumstance. But in a one-on-one duel, I think it's very, very hard to beat him.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing definitely is technique. Technique is the most important thing. It's more important than strength, definitely. And it's also more important than talent. and who has the better technique, who has more experience, who has honed his skills more than Barristan Selmy?
Talent without tough work is worth nothing. Barristan has put it all in the hard work and the talent, which results in technique.
He really has everything going for him, basically. That's why it really was such a simple choice to put him on number 1 here, I think.
It was for me as well. And it's nice that we, at the most important position, we agreed.
Yeah. I would really be curious if anybody sees this differently. I mean, is there another choice? Is there a different way? Can somebody really say, okay, Barristan is not my number 1?
Well, that's a question for the comments.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap it up with this little question for you guys. Is there a different choice for number 1 other than Barristan Selmy? And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, share, comment, and make sure to visit the shit out of our blog.